We have some lights over here that we'll be animating now. The first thing we'll do is pre-comp these blinkers. I use the VFX industry standard for numbering scenes. This means you start your numbering with 0, 1 to allow for 99 files to nicely arrange within your file structure. This happens automatically if you arrange your files by name, and they'll just order from 1 to 99. Additionally, there is a 0 at the end of 0, 1 as a failsafe. You end up with a triple numeral, 0, 1, 0. This is in case I want to add a scene in between my existing file structure. I will then, for example, have a sequence of 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 2, 0. The additional scene will nicely arrange itself in the right order. When creating a pre-comp within a scene, I like to add a letter after my numerals, meaning I have a main scene called 0, 1, 0, and pre-comps within it will be 0, 1, 0A, 0, 1, 0B, etc. This way it's much easier to distinguish which pre-comps belong to which scene and in which order. So as you can see, this is where our pre-comp is. So as mentioned in the beginning, we'll always add a marker to the beginning of our pre-comp and trim it. Now we'll jump inside. We have 2 sets of blinkers with 3 stages each. This is stage 1, 2, 3. And we now want to fade them in and out. We'll start with this one, and we'll add an opacity keyframe. This time we'll go forward 60 frames, and we'll fade this in. We want this one to be at 0, and we'll copy this keyframe, and we'll add some easy ease. This will be the end of our scene, so we'll move this end marker over here. We'll do the opposite for the next stage. It will fade out from 100 to 0 and then fade back in. We'll add easy ease. And for the next stage, we'll copy the first stage, but we'll move it back 30 frames. And then we'll add another keyframe. We'll now do the same with the second set of blinkers. I'll speed up this part. So this time we won't be adding the loop on each layer because we have a lot of layers and we've pre-comped the comp. We'll use a different technique to loop this set of keyframes. We'll go to our end marker, we'll go back to our scene and we'll add a marker here. And now we'll right click and choose Enable Time Remapping. We'll now add a keyframe at the end of our animation and at the beginning, and then we'll remove the very end keyframe and the start keyframe. Time remapping has a variety of uses. The most common one is to stretch or squash the timing of animation within a pre-comp without changing the keyframes inside of that pre-comp. If you want an animation to play faster or slower than you had originally animated it, you can adjust this by moving the time remapping keyframes on the pre-comp. The time is counted from the first keyframe at the beginning of the timeline that we just removed and the last keyframe, which we also removed. We are adding our own keyframes and removing the first and last because we want to manipulate our animation from our start point to our end point. As we have created an animation that loops within our start and end points, we can now add a simple cycle loop expression to our keyframes, which will loop the animation within the pre-comp without having to add an expression to every layer within the pre-comp. Using fewer expressions makes subsequent edits easier, as you don't have to change each individual layer, and in many cases it will also reduce preview and render time.